Morning.
And good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, guys.
What's the latest in Aberdeen, Peter?
Still miserable.
Yeah.
Still lots of. I just love it when the news comes on about what they're doing for cycling and spreading the pavements and the cycling and the traffic lane now, and they've actually taken the beach and wiped it out. Hardly can get parked in areas, and that was a big bone of contention there. And it's just been a night, and they hate the cyclists, hate us, and but it's if you're a cyclist, it's great because you're now separated from everybody.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that.
Stephen, how are things in Stoke?
I've no idea. I can't seem to find the daily information, the daily updates. There is one for Stafford, which is like 14 miles away. But I can't find anything for Stoke, so I have no idea. There's rumours are going around, of course, that we're next for lock-in.
Oh, wow.
Lockdown. There's everything from Mr. Kipling's factory.
Yeah, factory again.
Bakery, I suppose it would have been called.
Yeah.
And that's about 4 miles from where I am, where there's been a load of cases. So, but as I said, I can't find any official information. It's only John Upton was hit.
In fact, John Upton is here. Morning, John.
Good morning. Why does it say XSplit VCAM on my thing?
Because you need to redo the license thing. Just click a link and it will sort it. It's basically because there's been an upgrade. Okay. Anyway, in the meantime, John, any stories from Solihull?
Well, we've had an increase in the numbers, but Stoke-on-Trent is on the danger list of being locked down, according to today's countrywide analysis.
Where have you had that from, John? So I can't find
the BBC.
Just to explain, in the UK, we don't have a national lockdown. We have area lockdowns. And if the rate per 100,000 goes over 20, then the government says, right, okay, we've got to go into local lockdown, and rules apply about movement, and we'll cover those later. In Wiltshire, the story of the week is of Bradford-on-Avon, which is a picturesque town about 20 miles from where we are. And the town is split into two by a river. A river runs through the town. And there is one bridge across the river. And the county council and the council decided that what they would do in these times is to actually widen pedestrian area on the bridge so that people could safe distance as they were walking across the bridge on both sides. Now, this is a medieval bridge, so it's not very wide. So the net result of pedestrians being able to walk was that it became a one-way system. And as a result of the one-way system, on Wednesday, an ambulance had to wait 20 minutes to actually cross the bridge, and it was flashing its lights all the time. Couldn't move. It was stuck in a traffic jam. And it's a system that was bound to fail because the two sides of the town actually do need to keep in contact. You need to drive across the bridge to get from one side to another, to get anywhere. So they had royally made a mess of it. And nobody could go across the bridge because there was just traffic jams both sides of the bridge. So last night they decided, this is a good news story, last night they decided to suspend work on pedestrianising the bridge, and traffic can now go two ways. So belated thank you to Wiltshire Council.
I'm afraid, Stephen, you've missed out the most important Salisbury story of the week.
Okay.
Whereby our friends in Moscow have poisoned the opposition leader with Novichok, which Salisbury knows all about. And you just have to wonder, when are we going to be rid of this Russian dictator who just goes around the world doing what the hell he likes? And I'm not going to entertain any chats about Trump today because it's too depressing. But the fact that he's still at it with this Novichok stuff, I don't know, it's just unbelievable. It's evil.
Yeah, it's a regime that doesn't brook any opposition. If you're in opposition, you've actually found a voice and the people are listening to you, then they don't politically silence you, they physically silence you. And then parade it to the world.
Yeah. And to be honest, well, yeah, I mean, Theresa May, God bless her, she actually did boot out about 76 or 77 spies as a result of the attack on your town.
Mm.
But what would they do? What would they do? Well, some of the things the only things they can do is these financial restrictions, isn't it? And,
Trade embargoes.
Yeah, and of course the Orange Monster won't allow that to happen. So it rests on the likes of Angela Merkel and them. And but how long do you think it can go on? I mean, he's president life again, isn't he? So I worry for me kept by my grandkids.
Peter, your thoughts?
Yeah, they're just. I've got no answer to it. Nobody's standing up to them. They're lying to their back teeth, and it's quite interesting. Do you know? I've just finished the whole series called The Americans.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken quite a while because they stayed it all, and it just shows you how they did, because they've still got them, that embed people within the countries, United States, Britain, etc., and they pull them out when they need them.
It's a decent series, isn't it, Peter? It really is a decent series. It's been about 10 seasons, has there?
Yeah, there was quite a lot, and it was quite interesting to see what was going on, and they're embedded there. Hate to bring politics into it, but I think the Chinese have done the same in America.
Oh.
Quite possible. And say good morning
Yeah,
to Fon.
Biden. He's hiding.
He's not.
I'm talking about America. If you do, I'll go. Simple as that.
Right.
Depressing.
Right. Say good morning to Fon this morning, everybody who's watching us. We're going to try and stay. Well, we're not going to America because Stephen says we can't. John, you're now logoless. You now look like you're on expert.
I just logged into the site and it went immediately.
Yeah.
They're just checking up that you're actually there. I mean, site licensing depends on the internet, and the site that licenses some software I use was down yesterday. Yeah. So we're all at the mercy of it.
I can't remember if it's XSplit or one-off payment.
It is,
depends where you bought it.
I think it was a one-off payment for me.
And me.
Yeah. I pay $5 a month, principally because I've got the broadcaster software as well, and it's cheaper to do that, and it supports the developers too. Because we all want to support software developers, don't we, Stephen?
Oh, yes.
Right. Okay. Now there are lots of stories around, but I want to go to this one. Harry and Meghan are making shows with Netflix.
Good luck.
Can we speak about royalty?
Yeah, good luck to them.
Yeah, I agree.
They're not royalty anymore, are they?
Sorry, ex-royalty.
You know, I have a prediction. Harry and Meghan will divorce later. That's my prediction. And it's all going to turn sour. That's how I see it. Because he's handpicked.
Oh, for God's sake. You come out with some stuff, you do.
Henpecked.
He's under the thumb.
Is he?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I can't find any Stoke-on-Trent coronavirus infections anywhere.
Well, in fact, while I looked, the Stoke-on-Trent came up saying that your number of cases fell yesterday and you narrowly avoided lockdown.
My God. Where are you actually looking on the BBC site?
Well, it was the Stoke-on-Trent news that came up when I searched.
In addition to that, there is a website which I've just been using, and it's this one. And I'll bring it on screen. I don't expect you to type that, Stephen, but I'll give you the link afterwards. That's
BBC. Okay.
That's the website where you can type in your postcode and it tells you what the situation is at the moment in your area.
Right.
Yeah, and just underneath that link is a map, UK map, highlighting the cities, and it's got 3 levels of concern: in lockdown, close to lockdown, and under review type.
And I tell you something, it's causing division in Scotland, because why was Aberdeen locked down? There's people worse off in areas. And
they won't lock Glasgow down, but they'll lock Aberdeen down.
Well,
on Trent Live, Stephen, on August the 20th, you had 83 cases. And on August the 30th, it was down to 40 new cases. And that's why you've avoided lockdown. But it's all the fault of Stoke City Stadium.
How so?
Because that's where they've been doing the tests in the car park of Stoke City.
If you don't test, you don't know the right, do you? Talking of testing, anyway. That brings it on.
That was supposed to be humorous. It wasn't supposed to be factual. But Stoke City, talking of Stoke City, thrashed Leeds 3-0 last night.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it? It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
They hadn't got the 2 new key players in the Leeds team, though.
And we actually won against Blackpool in something like a Caribou Cup and stuff like that. 2 wins on the trot.
Caribou, yes, Caribou.
Right,
this
okay.
is the Caribou apple.
Right. We're going to start, according to Matt, Mass Weekly COVID-19 testing in the population. Angelica was tested last week and got the all clear yesterday. But as she quite rightly said, it's only for a moment in time. So it means that she wasn't infected at that particular point in time. But the problem is that the way the test is done is invasive. So the mass testing will be based on spit testing.
Yeah.
So, which is a lot easier to actually do. And they're going to roll that out in the coming weeks across the whole country. And the idea is that more and more people actually get tested, and possibly tested on a regular basis, depending on occupation. Let's take a few comments, which might not be COVID related. And Tish did something twice by mistake. Okay. Right, okay, I can see you're all, Peter and I are paying attention, aren't we, Peter?
Yeah.
I'm trying to read the thing down the side to see what she did twice, but I can't work it out.
Okay.
After we've mentioned
Claire's joined us.
Right.
Morning, Claire.
And sorry, Peter. Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to radio yesterday. Somebody was on. Yeah, people are getting tested positive, but seemingly it can be a tiny, minuscule bit that the test for very, very mild touch of it, you know, and the figures aren't right, because people are getting COVID put onto their death certificates when it wasn't COVID that killed them as well. They may have it, but didn't kill them.
Well, apparently even today, if you test positive for COVID and you're killed in a car crash, you will still be recorded as a COVID death.
Yeah, If you're in a parachute and you jump out skydiving, it doesn't open, you hit the ground. Oh, that was COVID, I'm afraid. COVID killed me.
Only if you had a test positive 28 up to 28 days before.
Oh, before one knew. I thought the test
It's that changing the rules that brought the death rate down by 5,100. The 28 days.
Do you think people are still taking this seriously?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry,
not around Birmingham.
They're not. Most are, but there are groups of complete idiots.
It's interesting in Australia this past couple of days, a young lady pregnant.
28.
Pardon?
She's 28 years old.
She came, arrested her because she was decided, let's have a meeting, let's keep our social distance, and when she said all that, right, she got arrested. Yet, a few weeks before, BLM done the same thing, no one arrested. Have we got a two-tier system? That's a question for you.
Of course we have.
A two-tier system, who gets arrested and who doesn't. I mean, the lady made a post on Facebook and she was arrested for it.
Yeah.
And there are those who say, well, yeah, we live in interesting times and things are happening which wouldn't happen under a normal situation, and COVID is being used. But having said that, in Berlin over the weekend, there was a mass protest by people who are anti-science and anti-virus. And you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people. This is not still a minority, but it's a growing minority. Stephen.
As I said, I mean, we've got that thing now where you can get fined 10 grand for running a rave.
Yeah.
But people were saying that if you've just got your stereo on in the garden, assuming it's still called a stereo, then, oh goodness me. Yeah. I'm just sorry, I've just found that the COVID-19 positive cases by middle super output area. Woo-hoo. And it's a bit scary because I've got about four miles away from me, there's actually 3 to 9 positive cases, and then about 7 miles from me I've got again 3 to 9. They are encircling me. But I'm glad I found the page because it's a quite detailed one. Sorry, there are too many idiots. There are too many idiots and malicious people doing it who just don't care, and that's because they're idiots. I mean, if you go to Tesco's or Sainsbury's or any other supermarket, people just walk on blithely, and most of them have got masks on, thank God.
That's a question for you. If somebody knows they've got it, deliberately goes out and goes to one of these big crowds, no matter who it is, Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, whatever colour, or whatever, Jeremy Corbyn's brother type thing, they've got it. And people die because of it. Should they get done for manslaughter?
I suppose
how'd you prove it?
The closest parallel we've got to that is AIDS. And having sex whilst you know yourself to be AIDS positive. Is that a similar situation?
It is, but as John said, you can't prove it. And the answer is yes, of course you should.
No. People
do it knowingly, but you'll never get done for it.
Because of it. I mean, I've got to tell you, at times I've let my guard down, but I try my best. And we've all let our guard down. Well, I would say the majority of it, in just one little slight way. By taking a ticket from somebody for something and then not putting gel on your hands. Yeah. If you just gel your hands, does that protect you from touching a paper?
No. It's something you do after you touch anything.
Yeah.
I mean, do you clean all the groceries that come in the house?
No, we don't wipe them down at all.
Tins, loaves of bread,
No,
jars.
used to, but don't now.
No.
Just wash our hands all the time. Sheila was always a hand washer. My Sheila, being a nurse, was always a hand washer. Tell him I couldn't get in the house. Have you washed your hands? Have you washed your hands? Have you washed your hands? So
That's quite possibly a lifesaver, mate.
oh yeah, no, absolutely. But I have never have done it, you know.
Did any of you see Frederick Forsyth's piece?
No.
Well, he thinks it's all a big con. And he thinks if you compare it to the current death rates for just flu itself, why are we panicking?
It's not as bad as flu in my opinion.
Flu is killing more people in Birmingham than COVID.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's because we've controlled it at the moment.
But also, if you get flu and you've got this thing called an underlying condition, then that's bad, yeah. And I think that COVID is very infectious, easily transmittable, and for people like us who are over 60, worse for us than if you're 6 or 18 or 24. So,
but that's half the problem. It's the people who are under 30 who think they're invincible.
Yeah,
but you asked the question, you know, is it worse than flu? And therefore, why are we closing the economy down? Because we believe that it's a good thing to protect the populace. We've sort of batted against this herd immunity thing that the Tories tried to.
Don't get me wrong. I wear my mask and
no, I know
I'm
that, but,
for it.
I'm
just saying that people as famous as him, yeah, and now making statements about this is a big con, you know.
Fame is not the same as knowing what you're talking about. There are two separate things. The fact that he is well known and respected for his writings, it doesn't mean that he's right or wrong about the pandemic.
I know, but the problem is not everybody thinks like that, Stephen. Yeah, they well, he's famous, he must know what he's talking about. Yeah.
People are into. That's why politicians, not politicians, but famous people, rock stars, who are maybe the guitar and giving it some willy, give their opinion, and then people believe them.
Well, you know? I think it's also very much social oriented. If I go to Little Inn Green Lane, which is near the Blues Ground, which is a primarily Asian community, hardly anybody wears a mask.
Really?
If I go to Little in Sheldon near Solihull, hardly anybody doesn't wear a mask.
Yes, his community is basically being led by the community.
Don't get me wrong, 2 of my best mates are Asian, so it ain't anything to do with, you know, you think all the Asians are thick. It's not true at all. It's just their social concept is that they don't need a mask.
Yeah.
Right. This is rare, but I'm going to bring a politician's name up. And I'd like to have your thoughts on him.
Well, half of me thinks I can't use the word TWAT on here, and the other half of me thinks what an unfortunate position the man found himself in, because I don't think anybody would have coped any better than he did in the end.
I think that's the point. Today he is in charge of his brief. He knows what he's talking about. He can get a point across. He this morning did an interview on Radio 4, and he actually answered the questions.
No, bloody hell!
There you go, and that's progress. He didn't flannel. He did answer the questions, and I just want to. Well, it's not a B4B endorsement. It's my endorsement for somebody who actually knows his brief, what he's talking about, and is actually doing something to help everybody. Okay.
Could we get the goon who did the is it Williamson, the education fast person?
Gavin Williamson.
Ask him some questions. Oh, and then we can ask Boris a few questions.
Yeah, well, Sir Keir Starmer asked Boris a few questions in Parliament, and Boris looked like a buffoon. So what more can you say? And
he's got him licked, mate. He's got him licked. And then when he came out with that insult about the IRA, you saw Keir come back and say, "Who do you think you are? Get your facts right and withdraw that stuff, you buffoon."
I mean, the background to that, Boris accused him of supporting Corbyn, who ostensibly supported the IRA,
which he didn't. But carry on.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying what Boris said doesn't have to be. It's true that he said it. It's not true that what he said was true.
Fair point. Fair point.
Yeah, tying myself in knots here.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
Right. Okay, fine. Right. Anything you'd like to talk about in particular this week?
During the summer, or spring, early summer, we did a load of planting in the garden. First time we've ever sort of consciously, bought loads of seeds and plants, and the amount of colour we've had in the back, beautiful. And I remember talking to John about a year ago about poppy seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And now we now have millions of the buggers.
When you've got them, you won't get rid of them. That's the problem. And they multiply by 50 every year. Yeah. So if you started with 10, you'll have your 500 next year. So,
but we're just.
They are beautiful, though. These are poppies behind me. These are Californian poppies.
Just having to work a schedule of when to plant everything over the next 6 months. But then we've got loads of different colour, and I think at some time next spring, if we have a Blabbing for Britain and Gardeners special coming live from our gardens, you from the allotment, John.
Yeah, well, the allotment or the garden. I've got quite a big garden as well, so yeah. In fact, my children came round and cut. We have a beech hedge along the left-hand side as you look out from the house. And my children came along and cut it all back. Now I have a huge pile of cuttings that need cutting up further to go in 50 or more green bins. It's amazing how they enjoy coming and doing the fun bits. Although I have to be fair, my eldest son came round yesterday and had a go at the stuff with his mum. What was I going to ask? Oh, don't talk to me about courgettes. Oh, I've only got courgette plants, and we've already had so many that people are going, not courgettes again. Yeah.
My favourite phrase at the moment is not cucumber again.
I've got a favourite
my
phrase.
Cucumbers are a disaster.
We have about 100 around the house, and family won't accept them anymore. So get away with the bloody spider plants, will you? And,
yeah, I planted 2 cucumbers this year. Each of them has got one tiny little thing about that big on them. So I won't be doing any outdoor cucumbers next year.
Well, I went and bought courgettes yesterday. Got my spiraler, that was up, and spiraled up some courgettes. Absolutely lovely, because Tesco's at the moment, I can't find them. You used to get them all spiraled up for you. So I'm doing that myself. Echo.
Yeah. Spiralizing is fun, has to be said.
You mean cutting them up into spirals? I'm trying to work out how he ripped the plant around to create the plant as a spiral.
It's a completely different
Have
topic.
you not got a spiralizer? you know, where you stick the end in and you twist it, and out comes the other end, comes a spiral arm.
Yeah, mine. I love all that. Well, today I bought 2 peppercorn grinders, battery operated, and I decided to take a bit out the bottom to try it out, etc. And could I get it to work again? And I spent about 3/4 of an hour, 30 seconds.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
How many of you pay YouTube for an account?
I'll live with the adverts, thanks.
I'm getting to the stage where I spend more time trying to get rid of the napping things than I do watching the telly, the videos. Just asking. And, you know, the next time somebody wants to tell me about earwax, they can write off.
Yeah. It does make it a more pleasant experience when you don't get ads all over.
Do you get adverts at all, though?
Not that I noticed, no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Give me Eric.
And if you're watching at the moment, we get about 5 seconds before we can abandon the advert, and then every minute or so you get another bloody advert if you're watching something of decent length, and particularly if you're watching a how-to and then up comes an advert and you forget where you've got to by the time you've got rid of the 5 seconds of advert. Anyway, yes, Peter, I know I need to talk to you about PPC, and if you hang on afterwards, we'll have a conversation. All right? Have you, and do any of you do PPC?
No.
Okay.
I do suppose occasionally.
Google issued a notification yesterday that there will be a 2% surcharge on your PPC from the 1st of October to match the government's 2% digital charge.
That would be in the end 2% for anybody that calls me through YouTube or pay-per-click.
But so some people it's a significant sum, Peter.
Is that?
If you're spending £100 a day on PPC,
Yeah.
that's an extra £2 a day. That's an extra £60 a month. That's an extra £700 a year, or 720 to be precise.
Yeah.
For nothing more. Yeah.
No, it's obviously something I'm looking at.
My one client, when I told him that why, because he said, why am I being charged 2%? And I sent him the link to the government. He said, oh, well, at least it'll contribute to the deficit, because it's forecast to produce 550 million in the first 12 months from its introduction on the 1st of November. That's money into the government.
And is it for our government? Is it for the UK only?
Oh no, we're all right. It's 5% in the likes of Germany and France.
Really? Or Trump will put a stop to that.
Why would he? He's one of the people who wants to tax Google more.
Well, listen, I know you guys do videos, right? I've got to tell you about this because I had tears in my eyes, and I've got to mention this. Some of the video campaigns that are coming out, and I saw one on the internet, and whoever made it did a fantastic job. It's about Joe Biden being in the bunker, and they've taken a film and they've put everybody's head on it that is against Biden, and the little kids, and they come out, and his wife comes to the balcony and says, and they say, is Joe coming out, Mrs. Biden? And all the famous people are on bikes and everything, little kids turn up. Is Joe coming out of his bunker, Mrs. Biden? And then it goes to Joe Biden lying there thinking, and I just thought it was a fantastic piece of video manipulation that had tears in my eyes. And if I was a Democrat, I would secretly say, boy, they've done that well.
There's going to be an increasing number of spoof, well, even nasty videos between now and November. We know that for sure.
Yeah.
It's just, but yeah, you appreciate the quality of the. Well, Stephen's still with us, so let's go. The question from Tish. Okay, how's everyone's significant other doing? How is Celia, John?
Celia is no worse and no better than she's been for the last few months, really. She's getting out and about now, which obviously she didn't do when it was lockdown. And she's spending a bit of time at our daughter's with our granddaughter. Apart from that, though, seems to be fine.
Angelica.
And how about Angelica?
Angelica, oh, we've lost Stephen. I don't know, it was technical, purposeful. Angelica is well, she is good. She's currently planning to do a survey of a potential ward, and that means that we have to leaflet 2,125 properties, and it's a survey, so you've got to leaflet them, and then you've got to wait a couple of hours, and then you go back to those same houses and you collect basically the thoughts of your constituents, and then you put them all together and you find out what you're going to campaign on. They can do it online, and that's preferable way, but of course not everybody's actually online, so you have to do the door knocking and go around everybody. So that's what's being planned at the moment. But thank you for asking, Tish. Angelica is busy.
Did Angela get the test because she had symptoms, or did she have to do it for going to be doing a counsellor's job or something? You don't have to answer.
It's basically, it was a random. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically, there's the COVID-19 app on your mobile phone. If you do report on a regular basis, then they choose from people who actually reported.
That's right. I think I was offered that as well.
Yeah.
My sister's been offered to take part in a year-long survey of the family regarding COVID, and it means sort of taking tests, but she gets paid at the end of it, which is quite interesting. And I think there's about 100,000 of them who are involved.
Yeah.
But glad to see that's happening.
Zafran is saying hello, John.
Oh, hello, Mr. Khan. It's not the Mr. Khan from Small Heath that we all are familiar with on telly, but it's the lead for the FSB, the Federation of Small Business in the Birmingham area.
Stephen, your question is?
Oh, rocking and rolling, absolutely beautiful and fantastic.
Right. And Peter, how's Sheila?
Oh, Sheila's just doing better than me. She gets in my nerves. You know? She's already walking the dogs. We've been doing a lot more hiking, but the trouble is with Sheila, she just loves tidying up. And she just came to me just now and said, "There's a bag of stuff in here." What stuff's it? Stuff that you leave lying around. And she'll take documents and everything and put them past the bags. I never see them. And when I need them, it's a problem. So Sheila's doing better than usual. She's retired. Go back to work, Sheila. Back to work. Volunteer again.
Oh, to Claire. Claire's saying it's when video manipulation is used as real that's more worrying. So, good point. Okay. Yeah.
Alice, my daughter's gone back to work, having had the little one and finished her maternity leave. Okay. And she's gone back into the hospital and fully expected to have to wear a visor and a mask.
Yeah.
She only was required to wear a mask.
There you go. Things are... Do you know, I think they're actually getting on top of it for... Go back to Mark Hancock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Flatten the curve. Save the NHS. Flatten the curve. Save the... I think they've done that.
There's definitely an upward trend, though. I mean, we were a 6.6 and now we're at 10.1 in Solihull.
But
that's the average number of cases per week. But
they've got a better idea how to deal with it now. Medicine and things like that. haven't they?
Right. Okay. On to things. Okay, we've done that story. We've done that story. My predictions are coming true. This one. BBC. Royal Britannia will be sung on the last night of the Proms after the BBC U-turn.
Yes.
I've only got one thing to say to this. Am I bothered?
Yes, we are. It's
all part of the. It's all part of the
old piece of rubbish. It's like Jerusalem. What the hell has Jerusalem really got to do with today's United Kingdom?
This section will prove that Blabbing for Britain team members have got differing tastes. Stephen.
It was just one of these, let's throw a kite up in the air, see what falls out, bullshit from the political classes. Sorry. It's just pathetic. It really is. And of course, the media, the daily hating them, just jump on it, you know, because it suits their purpose. I'm sorry if that sounds cynical, but it's true. It's pathetic.
Peter?
BBC are starting to listen. They've got a new governor. And you know one of the best things he's done? You know what it is? He's looked at the economy and he's decided it is far too lefty. And he's decided to balance out, because I'm sick of the lefties just making a fool of people who are opposed.
Calm down, that blood pressure. Come on, blood pressure. Down, down, down.
The one is turning. And one day I predict you, BBC, will not have our money to pay for your champagne and your big food eating and your big tax. It's
okay, come on.
Just
going mad.
Just for a change, just look at what Claire's put down there.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. This is a pertinent point, especially for Angelica's Christmas carol singing. Salisbury Cathedral Choir sang last night for the first time. It is social distancing, but the choir sang in the cathedral last night. So the update is that you can now sing, providing you actually take the safety precautions required. So singing is back. Singing in churches is back. And singing generally is on its way back too. So, yeah. Just my take on last night at the Proms. It's a British tradition, and I'm glad it's not changing. But that's just, I mean, it's, you know, it's British Empire and all that. The history is there. We can't rewrite history, and there are.
Go, boy, go.
No. History. It happened. It's documented. People did good and very bad things. I mean, we Brits were the nastiest of the world. Yeah. And we're now calling other people. We've done worse things than, well, as bad as anybody over our history. And we can't just sweep them away by stopping singing. That's my
can I just add to this as well? Who are one of the first countries that people call for when they've got problems, i.e. Bosnia and all these places? Where are the Brits? Where are the Americans? Help us. Please, help us.
Our army's now so small we couldn't do it.
The British flag, remember that.
Right. Okay. Now, one of the biggest problems that there is at the moment, which is going to affect us whether we like it or not, is the fact that people love working from home. And that means that our city centres, whether it be Birmingham, Manchester, Leicester, London, there's no traffic on weekdays, and the cities are suffering. And our government is trying to get people to go back. But the fact is that people enjoy working from home. Do you agree?
And it's saving companies money. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's really cheap offices in Birmingham city centre these days because there's so much for disposal. It's not true. And that was true before COVID came along.
But if you were one of these people who are spending thousands on rail fares every morning with a 2.5-hour journey into work and a 2.5-hour return, what's going to persuade you to do that again?
Nothing.
Well, that's it. Yeah, we've got a societal change here.
You know, it's the same as I predicted long ago, apart from my own doctors, idiots. Predicted long ago, we won't be going to the doctor to show them their hemorrhoids. We're doing it online on a camera. It's all changing. And that's the way it's got to be. We're in this century, and that's what's happening. We've all got our own TV stations now, and that's the way. And as I've said, we'll have our own personal shoppers in places. What about this, Mr. Stewart? Would you like this? Do you like that? It does that. It does that. Oh, that's good. That sounds just great for me. Send it out, please. And that's the future. Not only a rat catcher.
No, they still need rat catchers, mate.
Oh, I know that. But even we're getting more technological.
Yeah, but aren't we going to have an ultrasonic device in the corner of our house, and you press a code, and that's going to kill all the rats? Is that the future?
You just, well, at the moment we've got traps that when they're set off to tell us if it's been a false activation or if it's been a real activation with a body lying in it. It's not quite there yet, but it's there.
The rat can.
Yeah, there's cameras. People use cameras. It is there, but it's a bit too expensive just now, you know. And but it's coming. And firms are. There's one big firm we're using in food factories, where less inspection time, less going there, but actually they know when it's sick. Turns out and all that. So yes, it's here. I'm still old fun.
Right, it's time for a 43-second break. Now, what's going to happen during this 43-second break, theoretically?
It's going to cost you money, Mr. Healy, sir. Are you
Sorry?
advertising? Are you advertising?
Well, yes, I am. I am.
£87.
Right, okay. The background to this is that over the last 4 or 5 years, people have been producing their own shows.
Yeah.
But there are people who do not want to do the production side. They just want to appear on camera as the talent. But there are no rules. And you don't know. I mean, when I did a survey in Believers, what would you charge for a 30-minute program going to YouTube and Facebook? Between $75 and $500. There is cowboy territory, okay, and there's no quality. So while I switch my camera off so that I'm actually hidden from screen, I'm going to play you, hopefully it's still here, a little video. Okay, so you can all take a breather, guys, because this is going full screen. Thank you. Now we're back. That is live next Monday through Friday, 7th to 11th of September. We'll be talking about that. Day one is called The Producers, which is all about producing a show, and day 2 is Great Expectations, which is all about what people expect and what they're actually going to get. But during the course of the week, the team will actually be creating a blueprint, not only for people who are producing a show, but also as a client. What questions should you ask a show producer, and what answers should you expect? So it's practical next week. It's getting down to the brass tacks, all about live video production, and plans are being made at the moment. So thank you for watching that short video.
Are there any people out there actually producing now for other people, as in real?
On a regular basis, thousands of shows are being produced. Yeah, we know that. People have done hundreds of shows producing for other people. I mean, just from a personal point of view, I produce 7 shows a week, but I'm in them, so that probably doesn't count.
Yeah. People sitting behind the scene, not on camera, sitting there producing like you used to do for me in the early days.
Yeah.
And what did you create that in?
I created that short video using InVideo. InVideo is the best way to create short business software. At 4 p.m. today, 11 a.m. Eastern, John Upton and I will be live on Live in 5 talking about InVideo, inspired by InVideo with John's lesson. Was that?
Yeah, well, I'm not created yet, but apart from that.
Tish loved the music. Thank you, Tish. I've got licensed that music from Jamendo. So I can use it. And is this an advert or what? It's basically a promotional video for something that takes place next week, Malik. And over to Chris.
Let's just say it was free adverts, a free promotional video from Mr. Healy, because he is in charge.
Very good.
And he hasn't paid us for that.
Oh, yes. Can you remember where you were on 9/11?
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were installing software at a site down in Essex, and we couldn't believe, it was like a horror movie, seeing it on the television.
I was just getting my employee ID from Siemens in Manchester. So it's just been taken on. And then we walked into the office and lots of people around the only internet screen that was connected. And it was it was a world event, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
I was down in Derby at a board meeting with the Pest Control Association, where I was a director, and we were talking to two Americans that came over, and someone came into the office, whispered into the chief executive's ear, and he says, "We'll have to postpone the meeting, we need to go and see the television." And we were sitting there with 2 Americans, and it was a horrible day, to be honest with you. I'll never forget that day.
We did, and when we got home,
Client.
Oh, sorry, John.
I was at a client's right next to the M42, and we all went into the conference centre of. It's like a small, loads of small offices rented to small businesses, and we all went into the conference centre there and watched it on the telly.
Yeah.
I can just remember it like it was yesterday.
Time flies, does it?
It does. I mean, it's one of those days where where were you when Kennedy was shot? It is that sort of, you remember it. Yeah.
He died. He was in a chip shop. I was in a chip shop.
60, when was that? 66?
3, I think.
63. Oh,
63, 6. I'm not sure.
Not quite sure I understand Tish's message.
Well, she can't say what, but thanks for allowing me this time just to say that. Okay. Welcome, Tish. And over to Chris. And Chris is saying, Yes, I was at work and thought it was a joke. Filmmaking has, yeah. I mean, we didn't have fake news then. We had honest reporting.
Yeah,
And
pre-President Trump, so there wasn't any fake news then.
Claire was in a cafe in Canyon,
Arizona,
and Malik.
Oh, Malik was being born in.
Right. And Tisha's saying that's okay. Right. Okay.
We sort of deadened things, didn't we?
Well, yeah. When you talk about events like that, you get flashbacks.
Yeah.
Flashbacks. Yes. Yes.
Malik says subtle in video plug. No, we don't do subtle plugs here.
I'm from up north. John's from Midlands. We're not subtle. Subtle is not us. We say what we mean. Yeah. Right. Okay. Oh, my agenda's gone, long gone. We've talked about everything that was on the agenda. Okay, and let's go to Malik is amused. Okay, good. And just click that button there. And thank you, Claire, for liking the post. That's very kind. We enjoyed all your comments today. I mean, this is the key. I mean, we do this for the heck of it. I'm grateful for the fact that
we do it now, Stephen.
We haven't talked about Burnley.
No.
we talked about Stoke City. We haven't talked about Burnley.
Who? No, I it's summer, John. I'm not into football in summer. Cricket time. Let's talk about cricket. No.
The Villa made their first signing today, by the way. They bought Cash from Nottingham Forest.
All right, okay. Let's talk about football for a moment. Let's talk about silly money. Let's talk about City and Messi.
Well, they think they're going to get him for 80 million euros now.
But his salary is £12,000 a minute.
What?
Well, I don't know.
That's the deal. It's a 3-year deal, and he will get £12,000 a minute.
A playing minute, presumably.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
£87.50 for a wasp nest.
It's cheap.
£95 for a 2-minute video. Yeah.
60 quid for an hour's training. Stephen, over to you.
£1,000 for an app for a small business.
Right. See, comparatively, it's cheap.
It is funny,
but cheap.
Steve, is it? Well, did you do any good deeds this week?
I always do good deeds every day.
Good answer, Stephen.
And I'm going
Peter, this is leading somewhere. I know it is.
Yes, well, I sometimes do this. I went and done a good deed. I went down to a place called Maggie's Centre, which isn't far from it. This is going to be high. I says, just give it to me. I'm going past, and I went and done it. The place was empty. It's a cancer centre. And it said there with high. I says, I'll get that, no problem. I says, how's things with yours? And you're a charity, aren't you? He goes, yeah. He says, but we're £90,000 going to be missing by the end of it. I says, okay, chat. I said, well, you won't have to worry about this £100. It's for me. And that's all I said. He said, kind of look back. And then I got a fantastic testimonial through to put on the website. You know? And then the next moment I went to her house, an old lady come out. It was a difficult one. I says, right, I'll have to go to the law for this. And do you know what she said to me? Speaking of, she says, you know, when you turned up, you looked really peely-wally and ill-looking. I wanted to give you a cup of tea. I says, that's because I'm fit.
We have come, he said, to the end of the show.
Out of time.
It's that time. It's over to John.
Oh dear. Okay, well, it's my bit where I go. It's goodbye from him up in Scotland, there somewhere. You won't have to listen to him ranting on for another week now. It's goodbye from my friend in Stoke-on-Trent, who's narrowly avoided a local lockdown. And goodbye from my friend in Wiltshire at the bottom of the locks. So don't forget, you can see Stephen and I at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Bye from all.
We'll be famous one day.
One day, Peter.